So looking at worksheet 9 as a review, radius is 4.8. And so, yeah, it expands the unit circle by a factor of 4.8. We could phrase it that way. Let's see. Center at the origin. There's our angle. 3 labeled points. I don't see 3 labeled points. I see 1 labeled point. Oh, I guess point B and the origin, maybe? I don't know. What is the value of the sine of alpha? Well, what do you think about when you think sine of an angle? Opposite over hypotenuse. Yeah, I mean, you can draw it out if you like. So hypotenuse is 4.8. That's the easy one. And then which one of those sides is the opposite?
The longer side.
The longer side, the y coordinate. So 4.3 over 4.8. I think the trick is that for the unit circle, the sine is the y coordinate. But that's because the radius is 1. So I think they're trying to trick you into picking 4.3 because we like to say that the sine of theta is the y coordinate, but that's only for the unit circle. Only for r equals 1. So, because the radius or the hypotenuse is 1.
We do have to do like Pythagorean theorem.
Well, you don't have to do Pythagorean theorem because they told you what the radius is. So you didn't have to do Pythagorean theorem.
So do you just use like the y?
You just use y over r.
Okay.
So it's easy in terms of computation. The trick is, do you understand the concept that sine is opposite over hypotenuse, not necessarily just the y value? I mean, it is just the y value if r is 1. 21. In the xy plane, angle BAC is an angle in standard position with terminal ray AC, which intersects the unit circle, so we're radius 1 again, with coordinates 0.4, comma, negative 0.9. 0.4, negative 0.9.
Oh yeah, I have to look for radians to degrees on that SAT.
Did you do it right?
I hope so.
I hope so too. So 0.4, comma, negative 0.9. Oops, positive 0.4, negative 0.9. Which of the following descriptions is correct? The angle BAC. So this was BAC. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, or y over x. So that would be negative 9/4. So C or D. And the slope, the slope is change in y over change in x. So that's also negative 9/4. It turns out that the tangent of the angle is also the slope of the angle, or the slope of the line going through the point. We didn't really talk about that because it happens kind of automatically. All right, why don't you try number 22? So yeah, tangents 1 in quadrant 1 and 3. Try number 23.
On that side and not with the super open one.
Well, it is the super open one. The angle is this angle. But that's why we don't like adjacent over hypotenuse. It's like adjacent hypotenuse. That doesn't even. So we use the reference angle. but we'll just have to make kind of a note that x is negative 0.8.
That's like -1.
No, that makes sense.
Okay.
Is that a unit circle?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is the unit circle. In fact, if we had noticed that from the get-go, r equals 1, which means cosine is the x-coordinate because it's the unit circle. Again, you've got to be careful. If it's not a unit circle, if it's not radius 1, then you got to be extra careful. If radius is 1, then you can just use the x and y coordinates. All right, 24 is about standard position. Standard position basically just means you're starting on the x-axis. So that's really all 24 is asking. Angle COB is in standard position. Yes. Angle DOB is not in standard position. Initial ray and terminal ray. Okay, so which one's the initial ray for angle COB? OC. So the initial ray is OC, and it terminates, it ends at OB. So that's just questioning the definition of a standard position. Standard position means the initial ray is on the x-axis, or on the positive x-axis. That's what standard position means. Number 25. Is number 25 a unit circle? No. So we got to be extra careful on this one. Radius 2, along with 4 labeled points in the xy plane, I guess A, B, C, and O. The measure of angle COB is equal to the measure of angle COB is equal to the measure of angle AOB. Okay, so yeah, they're both 45. It's a weird way of telling us that's the 45 or the pi over 4 angle. What are the coordinates of point V? Jacob, you gave the answer to this question earlier when you were sort of being silly, but you gave the right answer.
What question?
You don't remember which silly answer I'm referring to.
Times 4.8?
You said just multiply the r times the unit circle value, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. So this coordinate we would normally think is cosine comma sine. But that's for the unit circle. If we've blown it up by a factor of 2, those coordinates are 2 times cosine comma sine. So it can't be B or D because that's got the x and y backwards. Right? X is cosine, y is sine. And then A versus C is, do you recognize that it's not the unit circle, it's the 2 unit circle. I mean, I guess I was going to say there is no such thing, but there kind of is. That's it right there. The radius is 2. So we would expand it by 2. Why don't you try number 26? Similar question. Not the unit circle, though. If r equals 4, we have to sort of blow it up by 4. And so that gives us the coordinates of A. So knowing the unit circle, but then kind of expanding it if the radius isn't equal to 1.